going on?
Thank you so much.
Feel like $1 million.
Shout out TMZ, you up?
Let me check out that rig.
TMZ stands for the Mayweather Zone.
How'd you find me, bro? I got my disguise on.
I love my TMZ family. Smoochie.
Welcome to TMZ Sports. I'm Mike Babcock with my guy, as always, Mojo Muhtadi. Mojo, we're going to start with Cain Velasquez. The MMA legend was sentenced to 5 years in prison in a California courtroom on Monday. And now you've got a bunch of other really big and powerful people from the MMA community coming out and speaking up for the UFC legend, Mojo, the former UFC heavyweight champion. So first things first, let's look back. A lot of people will remember this case because it was a huge deal at the time. Cain Velasquez, accused of, in February of 2022, of trying to shoot and kill a guy by the name of Harry Ghilardi. Now, Ghilardi has been accused of molesting, of sexually abusing one of Cain's children. So Cain took justice, or tried to take justice into his own hands, and he tried to hurt this guy, Harry Ghilardi, by shooting him. Well, Ghilardi was not, in fact, the one who was ultimately hit, Mojo. A family member of Ghilardi's was hit. Cain was charged with attempted murder. He ultimately pled no contest. And finally, yesterday, he went before the judge, Mojo, and he was sentenced again to 5 years in prison. He could have faced life in prison, so that's how serious this could have been. Ultimately, gets 5 years. Cain has already served 2 years on house arrest, and he's done almost 1 year behind bars, so he probably will ultimately end up doing something like a year in prison. Anyway, Mojo, now let's talk about the people who have had Cain's back and said, hey, look, despite the fact that this could have been, way worse as far as prison time is concerned, a lot of people think that Cain should have gotten no time at all, considering what Harry Ghilardi is accused of doing here. Jorge Masvidal, one of the most popular, one of the most well-known MMA fighters of all time, he goes to his X account, Mojo, #FreeCain. One of Cain's best friends is the great Daniel Cormier. You see them right there. These guys go way back, Mojo. Daniel Cormier, DC, comes out and says this: Warrior, Cain, you are the man. That won't ever change. You will approach this like you've done every step of your life. See you soon, champ. So you've got Masvidal, you've got DC, a bunch of other fighters, Mojo. And the support is not new. Mojo, you go back a couple of years ago, Khabib Nurmagomedov, also somebody who has had a long-standing friendship, a relationship, there they are together, with Velasquez. I spoke with Khabib a few years back, Mojo, shortly after the incident happened. And even then, Khabib, with the support for his brother, watch this.
Never on his life he have problem in in social, it's like outside with people, with Jim, it's like he is most respectful guy I ever seen in my life. I was training with him more than 10 years. It's like I know his family. Everybody love Cain.
Yeah.
What happened? This like he act like anybody gonna act in the world.
Any dad would have.
This is his kids. And I don't understand anybody in the world who respect himself, who love his family, is gonna do same thing exactly. Come on, nobody gonna think about law or something when you have something about your family.
Yeah.
You have to protect your family.
Mojo, I don't think you got to be an MMA fighter to have that take like Khabib had. That's what a lot of people have said. And a lot of people, again, think that Cain should have never even faced any charges.
I think that's what most people are going to say here, Babcock. And I actually know Cain personally myself. I don't know him well, but we did wrestle in WWE together for a while. Every single time I saw him, he was always so composed, so mild-mannered, so respectful, very quiet, didn't come in with an ego whatsoever, and easily could have as the former UFC heavyweight champ. This dude just could have walked in like he was the man, but he didn't. He was always respectful. So anyone that knows Cain personally was obviously going to be on his side. Anyone who doesn't know Cain personally is probably on his side as well. It doesn't matter how cool, calm, and collected you are at all times. Somebody messes with your kid, especially in the ways that happened in this particular case, all bets are off. So, I know that just about anybody isn't faulting him for going after this guy. Of course, The problem comes with the fact that the stepfather was the one that got hit. I mean, that's the big issue here. If it would have been Gilardi, I mean, I don't know. I think this entire case is potentially goes a very different way. You know, probably doesn't get any time added. In my opinion, he shouldn't. That guy had everything coming to him and then some. So I'm not surprised whatsoever to see all these people speaking out on his behalf. I'm sure for every one person that tweeted, there's another 1,000 that would tweet or was thinking it as well. So, you know, the good news is that most of this is already time served. Cain is going to be out very, very quickly. And also, if he does go to prison, I don't think anybody's really going to be messing with the former champ, especially considering why he was in there in the first place.
Yeah, I agree completely, Mojo. Just to wrap this up, to put a bow on it, as far as Harry Gilardi, he is facing charges, by the way, for what he allegedly did to Cain's child. He has not yet been in front of a judge. His case is due to be heard sometime this year. We'll see what happens there. He is obviously facing decades and decades behind bars. John Cena says he'll make WWE fans forget who Ric Flair is. Well, what does the Nature Boy think about that? We'll ask the two-time WWE Hall of Famer in the interview you will not see anywhere else, next on TMZ Sports.
At WrestleMania, I make history by winning a 17th championship. And I finally force you to forget the name of the fun machine, jet flying, woo, Ric Flair. You will forever say the name John Cena.
Welcome back to TMZ Sports. I'm your host, Mojo Muhtadi, joined by the legend, the greatest of all time, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, coming in hot with some heavy comments by John Cena on last night's Monday Night Raw. Rick, how are you feeling? What are your thoughts after you hear Cena say something like that?
Well, I'm just glad I'm alive after the life I've led to be here to hear it. So, but I got news for John. They've been trying to get rid of the woo for 50 years. The woo ain't going away, either is Ric Flair, and the odds of him winning the 17th world title are astronomical.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. I mean, obviously, John Cena turning bad for the first time in years. No one really saw it coming. Everyone wondered if this was ever going to happen. I mean, if you're asking me, I mean, you want to turn bad, the way you do it is by insulting the Nature Boy. I mean, you are somebody that is known all around the world, not only in professional wrestling, but outside of it as well, an icon. So a lot of people took offense to that. I mean, Cena's got this big WrestleMania match coming up.
I love it. I think it's the coolest thing they could have done.
Yeah.
I think it's great. As a matter of fact, I was hoping to win the Royal Rumble. I mean, that was a great finish there too, you know. So I'm excited for him.
So despite the comments, you're excited to see where this thing goes and how all this plays
Hey,
out.
they're talking about, you know, the saying they're talking about you. You're doing something right.
That's exactly correct. Rick, are we going to see you at WrestleMania, Mike?
Hell yeah. I'm going to the pool party with you. What do you mean?
That's right. We're going to talk a whole lot about that here shortly, but WrestleMania is going to be a big week, of course.
Oh, God. You're real.
You know, aside from John Cena, you know, your daughter, Charlotte Flair, has a big titles match. I mean, the comeback that she had after the injury, winning the Royal Rumble and now challenging Tiffany Stratton for the title. Talk about that path, her road back to the ring and everything that she's been going through.
First of all, it was a horrible injury. And I think, and it's hard, so hard to do anything on the sidelines when you're right in the middle of your career, you know what I mean? And she'd never been hotter. But Undertaker said it best. She came back and she regained the crown. She's the greatest female wrestler of all time, man. And she might be the best wrestler in the business right now. Forget about Cena and Cody and those guys. She's that good. You know, she's been through so much, and, you know, people are always, it's Ric Flair's daughter and all that. She is so much better than I ever was. You know, better athlete. She, you know, it's a very unusual that you'll see two people from the same family, second generation, third generation, that are so much alike. I mean, she wants to always wear the best clothes, and she does. She outdresses everybody. She outworks everybody. And now she's found her niche, which takes a while sometimes. You know what I mean? But she's a badass. And I'm glad that they're letting her be who she is. Hey, when you're the best, you can say anything you want to say.
Well, now we're talking, and that right there, Rick, is actually the perfect segue, because this is what I've been waiting this whole thing to talk to you about. An event that I am actually doing with you, WrestleMania week in Las Vegas. Slam Fest is coming to the Palms pool party. You are going to be headlining it. Dozens and dozens of the biggest names in pro wrestling are going to be doing this event. Oh, man, there's going to be an eating contest, firefighters versus cops. You are hosting a woo contest, but now fans got an opportunity to pop bottles with the nature boy himself. Now, I've partied with Ric Flair. I know how intense it can be. Do we need to say anything to the fans who might not know, just so they prepare and they know to bring their A game?
Mild-mannered, stay as far back as possible.
Rick, thank you so much for joining us today on TMZ Sports, brother.
All right, man. Thank you, buddy. Love you very much.
Love you too, Rick. We'll see you again soon.
Okay, guys. Woo! Limousine ride and private jet flying. Woo!
One of the biggest stars in college basketball goes down with a devastating injury. Well, we'll hear from the two biggest stars from the WNBA, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, weighing in on JuJu Watkins' injury from the NCAA Tournament. That's next on TMZ Sports.
There's Russell, 10 on the shot clock. Iriafin on the switch, tied it up, took it away. More great defense from the Trojans, and Watkins goes down hard, and she's grabbing her right knee, quickly grimacing in pain. JuJu's face telling the story and being carried off the court, opposite end from the USC locker room.
Welcome back to TMZ Sports. Mike and Mojo. Mojo, that was from last night's NCAA Women's Tournament. JuJu Watkins, the biggest star in all of college basketball, going down with what looks like a very serious right knee injury, Mojo. I'll tell you what, USC, they advanced in big-time fashion. It was a blowout against Mississippi State to the Sweet 16, Mojo. But this has not just overshadowed this game, but the entire tournament for these very talented women out there, Mojo. She is obviously out for the foreseeable future. We do not yet have a definitive answer on what the injury is, although there's some fear that she tore her ACL. So we wish JuJu Watkins the best. And you've got a lot of people wishing her the best, Mojo, including two of the biggest stars from women's basketball right now. They're not college players anymore. They were stars at one time. We're talking about Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark both went to X. Angel had this to say, Mojo: prayers for JuJu with teary-eyed emoji and, of course, the praying hands. You also had Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark said, sending all my thoughts and prayers to JuJu. Kid will come back stronger than ever with the heart. She called her a kid. She is a kid, Mojo. She's only 19 years old. She is just such a talented basketball player. Now, after the game, of course, Lindsey Gottlieb, who is the coach of the University of Southern California, she was, of course, asked about her star player's injury. Here's Coach.
How do you manage and galvanize your team to fight on without JuJu?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't know exactly what's going to come in these next couple hours when we find out what's going on. But, I mean, you cannot tell me that the energy of that crowd and how sort of angry they were with the other team and how much fired up they were for our team is so much about what JuJu has given to this arena, to this program, to this city, and you just want to give it all back, right? You want to give it all back and support her however we can, but also, you know, the team has become a team, you know, and deserves my best and our best to build that belief in them that they can do anything.
There it is, Mojo. I mean, they've got basketball games to play here. They obviously want to win a national championship with or without JuJu, but it's a massive loss.
Goodness, I mean, this injury was so devastating. The head coach had no idea what to say.
Yeah.
I mean, totally buckled under that question, went totally blank, had no response in mind. I mean, that just shows you how devastating of an injury this was. Sucks, too. It was right at the beginning of the game. It's early in the tournament. I mean, we're talking about a 1 seed. We're talking about one of the best players in the entire country. And to have something like this happen, I mean, this shakes the entire tournament. I mean, USC, how they're going to perform the rest of the tournament. I mean, they're going to be seriously impacted by this, but all of the tournament as a whole. I mean, you watch March Madness, not only for the upsets, but you want to see the stars go head to head. You want to see the tournament, you know, you want to see these exciting matchups. And now, you know, this matchup, anyone that plays USC, it's not going to be nearly as exciting. And it just sucks. I mean, gosh, you can see the knee buckle. Totally horrible thing to see. And you can feel the impact, all the stars reaching out, tweeting. I mean, there was a lot of response to this online yesterday, and it's just a tough one, Babcock.
Yeah, Mojo, it really is. Look, the reason that, fans tune in is to watch the star players, and she is a young person, but she is incredibly talented. She is going to be a top pick in the WNBA. I don't think this is going to stop her. How much does it slow her down? That's the question. How much does it slow down the USC team? That's the question. They will be back on the court in just a couple of days, Mojo. Here's wishing them the best. Up next, actress Shailene Woodley spotted in Paris with someone that looks awfully like her ex-fiancé, Aaron Rodgers. We'll tell you who the mystery man is when TMZ Sports rolls on right after this.
Want to listen to today's show? Now you can check us out on the go with the all-new TMZ Sports podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to subscribe and listen. Whereas always, tomorrow's show will be the best show since today!
Welcome back to TMZ Sports, Mike and Mojo. Mojo, actress Shailene Woodley has got herself a new boyfriend, and well, he looks a whole lot like one of her old boyfriends, Aaron Rodgers, Mojo. Yeah, that's not him. Everyone's probably saying, yeah, that is exactly, he is a doppelganger for Aaron Rodgers. No, that's Aaron Rodgers. Of course, Mojo, Shailene and Aaron, they dated for a couple of years. As a matter of fact, they were engaged to get married. They announced the engagement in February of 2021, Mojo. Then they celebrated a year of being engaged by calling off the engagement in February of 2022. They split up, Mojo. Ultimately, it just did not work for them. Well, let's see this new boyfriend now. The guy is an actor, an accomplished actor. His name is Lucas Bravo. He is 36 years old. He is from France, and he is an actor from the show, the very popular show, Emily in Paris. There you go, Mojo. Do we think he's got an Aaron Rodgers look to him, right? And he's wearing green, too. Jets green, Packers green.
Yeah, what's going on here? We got a look-alike. He's wearing the same jersey. I mean, forget the green shirt. How about the yellow hat to go with it? It's the exact
right. Packers
color
colors
here, Baycock. I mean,
I didn't even notice the hat, Mojo. I didn't notice the hat.
I did right away. Go, Pack, go. I'm partial to my former quarterback here, but always makes you wonder when the next significant other looks exactly like the previous significant other. It's almost like, man, I was really close with this one, but not quite. You know?
It's so true, Mojo. And, maybe she liked him. She liked the way Aaron looked, but maybe there were some personality issues there. And if you believe some of the reports, that's exactly the case and why the relationship ultimately did not work out. They obviously, at one point, planned to spend the rest of their lives together, but it just did ultimately not happen, Mojo. So we know that Shailene has moved on with Lucas. As for what's going on with Aaron, we still don't know. His future, his football future, at least, is very much up in the air. The Jets said, hey, look, Aaron, we've got a new coach in Aaron Glenn. We're looking to move on with a young quarterback. We don't want you around anymore. Aaron Rodgers, we know there's interest from other teams out there, Mojo. The New York Giants have made it very clear that they want Aaron Rodgers. The Pittsburgh Steelers have also made it clear, Mojo, perhaps the Vikings too. Aaron Rodgers has just not made up his mind yet, Mojo. I think he's going to play football, but we are sitting here with bated breath waiting for Aaron Rodgers to announce where he will play this upcoming year, or will he end up hanging up the pads once and for all? That we don't know, Mojo. As for us, we will continue waiting. Maybe we get an answer tomorrow, Mojo. Probably not, knowing Aaron Rodgers. What I can promise you is we got a bunch of big things to talk about tomorrow, Mojo. And it's going to be a pretty great show. I'm feeling it.
That's right,
Yeah.
Babcock. Today, a great show, especially after my Lady Terps came back from being down 17 to
You
beat
guys
Alabama
on
in double
fire.
OT.
You're on fire in this tournament.
Men and women on absolute fire this week, and riding that momentum will make tomorrow the best show since today.
I'm a lawyer.